3 days in, still excited, still happy to be back, and just being back here. Just sometimes it's, you don't know when things are going to work out. To be back at a place for 9 years that called home, so it's been really fun to get to know the group in a more day to day, hour to hour in practice, like really get in it. And with coach, a lot of the some of the stuff is different, but a lot of the terminology and how she works and everything are the same now. Again, I just see it from kind of all the way through. So great to work with Becky again. Bless you. And E. So it's been a lot of fun. Got to keep getting better, working hard. How about that? I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Yeah, that was textbook.
Last one, I think you were there. I think a lot of you guys were there for some of those ones at Williams.
Lindsay, I asked BB this too, just about gathering the team together day one of training camp and sharing the memories of going, the heartbreak of 2016 and how it fueled you for 2017. You don't have to say exactly what you said, but what was the message you want them to take from that experience and how that carried into 2017 for you guys?
Yeah, I think that once we all individually throughout our off season were able to, you never get over a loss like that. You never, it's always gonna. I was watching highlights at, I think when Elena Beard got named for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and they had a couple highlights from that series, and I instantly felt like I was gonna throw up. From the 2016 series, you just feel sick to your stomach because of how heartbreaking that was. But I think, and the one thing I said is we don't get 2017 if we don't go through collectively what we went through in 2016. And so we didn't get that joy, that revenge, whatever you want to say, of 2017 if we didn't go through everything as 2016. And I was talking to Kent the other day, and I said it was like a shared. Now it bonded us even stronger. We already had a great bond, but now we went through that together at that stage of our careers. 17 was year 14 for me and Becky. Everybody else was, double digits and whatnot in their career. But to be able to go through that in 16, year 13 in the league, it gave us a lot of motivation. But we had that kind of almost shared, thing that we went through, and it brought us even closer. And so, because nobody else outside of, your family's there for you and whatnot, but it's that group that went through that the day to day to get to that point, and then the result. It bonded us. If you do it the right way, we're all so motivated, and it's been fun to see these guys just how motivated they are and how excited they've been to work every day.
Yeah, Lindsay, using it the right way kind of ties back into a question I asked Rebecca. How do you you want to use that as fuel, but how do you make sure that it doesn't consume you to the point where it becomes a negative?
Well, I think there's also some, I remember 2016, there was points that, you do take, it's the long series, so there's a lot of points. I mean, there was still, despite how things went for us in 2016 down the stretch, I think you have, when you take some accountability for different things that I could have done better, somebody else on the team. I think once you also realize that, then it's I want to work on those things for next season. So then it becomes, those are kind of goals and things that I think the more, when I took things from 2016, I have to go back, because that was a while ago now, but just things, either my matchup that didn't go as well, plays that different times of the game when I didn't execute, defensively not on my matchup. When I took accountability for those things, then it was that's in my control then to do this for 2017. What's in my control for 2017 is to try to be in the best shape of my life. Worked over at Exos daily. These are the skills I want to get better at. I want to improve my three. Once I kind of had those things and kind of shifted after kind of the, you kind of lick your wounds for however long. Once I took more accountability in that, I was able to come back and be the player in 2017 to help lead the team to what we eventually got to.
T and Court have both talked quite a bit about just how excited they are to have you in that point guard room and to have you coaching them. What's it like from your side of it in training camp so far, working with Court and T?
They've been great. They've been they've come in with just like taking ownership in how the day goes as point guards, because it starts. We said today, it starts with us. It starts with our point guards. It starts with, and I want to be right there with them. So, but they have been like so good, so fun to work with. It's really been before and after practice, during practice. It's been the amount that Courtney communicates at a high level, the amount that they both do things defensively that just are really allow everybody else to, be where they need to be, because it starts with them defensively. The amount of communications, knowing where to play. You can tell that they played under Coach's system for a year and that they really worked and they know where to be, they know where to go, they're vets. So now it's just as we continue to get into it and continue to go, as we continue to learn each other. I was Cheryl's point guard for 9 years. So a lot of that will come back into my memory on expectations of these different times and maybe different things like that that they'll need. So I'm definitely excited for that opportunity.
Coach, Cheryl mentioned on draft night that both you and Rebecca were particularly excited about drafting Delia Daniels, where you got her in the second round. What about her game or what you saw from her in the Big Ten, Pac-12 made you that excited to bring her here to Minnesota? And how has she looked these first few days of practice?
Yeah, I think that her skill set is something that has a lot of synergy with the other posts that we have here, where they're mobile, they're able to make plays, off the bounce, a lot of different, she played a lot in the pinch post or on the free throw line in college. Well, now it's obviously extended out in the WNBA where there's more room. So, just understanding her size, she got a certain toughness about her. And, we just saw her over and over again at the Big Ten tournament, make pass after pass, big rebound after big rebound. So I just knew that, if we, get her here and get her with like the timing and things like that, and a little bit of the nuances at this level, but she has that skill set of just like the timing of her passes. She's a tough kid. She wants to do things the right way. So, in knowing all those things, when she got to there, we were both very, very excited, very happy. And so now it's just, it's a lot for a rookie, and I mean, there's no better person than Becky to, kind of, mentor, work with her and different things. So just continue one day at a time with the young players for sure.
Wanted to ask about Courtney. You talked about the difference having already a year under your belt of Cheryl, and where do you see that progress coming next for someone who was especially so good in the pick and roll, especially to continue to nourish that, but also what it means for her, or specifically that to have that year already? Absolutely.
You just kind of, I remember too, like my second year, it's like the plays, it's just you know the playbook. She just knows the playbook. She already knows before. As Cheryl is installing and giving, the different sets and things, they already know what they are, which I think as a coach is such a great feeling, because they can show then the next groups how it's supposed to be executed. But Courtney defensively in transition has been great in practice. She's been great. I think that's something too that this team was really good at, and I think that's a big step that from year one to year two that she's taken, that you can really see that she takes a lot of pride in. And now it's like this group has a whole year under their belt, so now it's just continuing to evolve. Hey, Fee over here, at this point of the game or whatnot, or hey, let's, BC. She's feeling great from here. Now it's just like, how can we get those actions to make it happen? I need, I need a shot or a bucket or whatever. Like now, it's just keeping progressing with it being year 2, and now you kind of take that. It's a lot like our 2011 after 2010, and we were nowhere near as good as that team was. 2010 was not a good year for us, but 2011, like once we had the system, and now you can really start to like try to pick people apart because you really have that bond and that trust from a season. And then, like as we said, add in the way that the season ended, a lot like 16. Now you add that in, and you can have a pretty special bond. All right.